All my friends out in TV land, this is Senior Issues, etc., and I'm your host, Vita Verdon. And I have a show today that is a hot topic, and we're going to get right to it. So hurry up, get your coffee, get your tea, come sit down, have a paper and pencil, because there's a lot of information. All right, this has been the week of Veterans Day, and you know our heart has gone out to the vets. And I have a guest on the show. This is actually his fourth appearance on the show. And he has a topic that is got some work to be done on it. So what we're going to do is roll up our sleeves, and we're going to get right to it. And he is in the Veterans Assistance Commission. He's the superintendent, and it's Michael Peck. Michael, it's so nice to have you back on the show. And if you look right into that camera there and just tell the people a little bit about themselves and your background to know like who you are and what we're going to be dealing with in this show, okay?
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Galesburg, Illinois. I joined the Army in 1966. I served a tour in Korea and 2 tours in Vietnam. I then returned home. I became a police officer, but I stayed in the Army Reserve because downstate police officers don't make as much money as those north of I-80. I retired in 1996 from the police department. I retired in 1996 as a colonel in the Army Reserve. I worked briefly for the state of Illinois as the chief of security for the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. And then because my 2 daughters live up here in Mundelein, I moved up north, and I was elected as the superintendent for the Veterans Assistance Commission.
Now, if you can tell our audience what the Veterans Assistance Commission is.
Okay, the Military Veterans Assistance Act established a Veterans Assistance Commission in each of the counties. Now, not all counties have them. It's kind of up to the county board whether to establish a commission or not. But we've been around in Lake County since 1922, and what we do is provide emergency assistance for veterans. We also do their claims with the federal VA, and we also provide transportation to and from the Lovell Federal Health Care Center in North Chicago.
Now, you are the superintendent
Correct.
of it. Now, the hot topic that we're going to deal with today that I want everyone to pay the utmost attention to is the bill, okay? So now, first, give us the number of the bill.
Well, it's Senate Bill 3042, which passed the Illinois Senate 55-0. But then on May 1st, the Speaker of the House sent it down to the House Rules Committee, where it has sat since May 1st.
Okay, so it's in the Rules Committee. Now let's tell our audience what the bill is about.
Okay, last year we passed the standard homestead exemption for disabled veterans. When we looked at it, we realized we left something out, and that was the surviving spouses. And so we have introduced an amendment, which is Senate Bill 3042. And what that amendment does, that allows us to substitute the wife or surviving spouse for the veteran so that she can receive that homestead exemption. And it's important. This bill, the standard homestead exemption, at 30% disability, we can take $2,500 off.
Now I'm going to stop you right here, okay? Because this is one thing that I want the audience to understand, okay? Now the disability, that means when the person is in the service, okay, whatever disability occurs to them during their period of time in the service is assessed, and then it's given a percentage rating.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
So then in this percentage rating, the percentage rating is connected to how much they would be accredited to on the benefits of the bill.
Correct.
All right, I just want that cleared up so they know when you're saying 30%, 90%, that they know what that means.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, a 30-cent service-connected disability will get them $2,500 off the appraised value of their property.
Okay.
A 50% disability rating will get them $5,000 off the assessed value of the property. And at 70%, they wouldn't pay any real estate tax at all for a home that was worth less than $750,000. So there is a top on that bill.
Okay, so now what do we have to do? Now what we have is how this bill went in, and it was just not approved by Madigan, right?
Cor-
So we're going to try to give, when it's sent, the Rules Committee, if I'm understanding this correctly from you, is before the bill just poops out, right?
Right.
Fizzles out, and it's dead, so to speak.
Correct.
Okay, so if it's dead, it's gotten this far, that means then after January 1st, you would have to start right from step one to reintroduce the bill. And it would have to go through all those steps of going through introduction and whether it's going to be passed or not. But if we can resuscitate it at this time, so resuscitation means every person out there has to do what?
Well, what we need is you to call your state representative and urge that they move the bill out of the House Rules Committee into, let's say the Veterans Affairs Committee, so that they can introduce it to the floor and we can get a vote on it. Like I said, I'd like to see us get a vote on it, before December, but so we don't have to start over again.
Okay, all right. Now, let's give like a certain hypothetical case that when a person, because there's so many, for instance, even in just the Lake County area, there's so many widows that maybe are unaware that they're eligible. So let's give a hypothetical case of a person in the service and having a disability.
There's been many veterans that have died, and a lot of them have been exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam.
Okay.
Let's say, and if the veteran comes to me, and what I will do is introduce his bill to the VA, and he dies before that process is completed, we can substitute his wife in there. And then once the bill, the disability is approved by the VA, then the wife can go to the county assessor and ask for that homestead exemption for herself. So not only can she receive DIC, Dependents Indemnity Compensation, she can also benefit from the standard homestead exemption for disabled vets.
So what the people have to do is call their state representative, and they have to set a claim with you in the Lake County area or in the area that they're in with their Veterans Assistance Commission. Is that correct?
No. What we're asking them to do is just get the bill passed.
Oh, get the bill passed.
Right. And then if the bill passes, please call the Veterans Assistance Commission.
And then call it. Okay. First thing we have to do is get the bill passed. All right. So why don't you give the website? The website.
Okay. It's lakecounty.il.gov/veterans.
Okay.
Is our county website. We'll have all the information on there for you. But please, if you want to help a veteran, help get this bill through, because what this bill does, it helps us honor a veteran by taking care of his spouse. I mean, I can tell you my wife has lost a lot of weekends in that in time when I was in service. And this is just a way of repaying that family for the service they presented. We're a country of 325 million people, but we are protected by less than 1%. There are only 3 million young men and women in the service. And the best way to honor their service for giving us the freedoms we enjoy is to help us get this bill through. It's just a small step, but it can mean so much to that family.
How about a telephone number?
The phone number for the Veterans Assistance Commission here in Lake County is 847-377-3344. Please call. We'll be glad to provide you with the information you need. I try to do claims by appointment, and we have offices available at Lovell Federal Health Care Center. We also do claims at the College of Lake County, and we even do claims on Saturdays in Wakanda. So all the work I do, though, is by appointment.
So say somebody is outside of the district that you're reigning over, because it goes all the way down to Evanston, we're all the way in Mountain Grove. So then they have to find where in their area, somebody to call in their area, right?
Right. The Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs has service officers, but each county also has a Veterans Assistance Commission. So you can go to the iacvac.org, and you can look up a county service officer off that website.
Okay, so then what they have to do is the urgency right now is between now and like the end of November, right?
Correct.
If it's not in by the end of November, which is just a few weeks.
Right. The veto session is a very special session, so we have limited time, but it's an opportunity for us to try and get that
What
bill.
is the veto session?
Well, it's special legislation that the lame duck, the House of
So-
Representatives has.
So this rules committee, that's considered the lame duck?
Well, this is a lame duck session, and it's just an opportunity to get important bills passed.
All right. Now, let's just go through, we're just going to keep going through this one by one. Okay, the bill was introduced, and the bill was not approved. The bill was sent into this rules committee, right?
Correct. It passed the Senate 55-0. There was no problems with the bill in the Senate. But then when it got to the House of Representatives, it was sent to the Rules Committee where bills go to die.
Now, is it sent there because it was overlooked, or it just wasn't dealt with? There's probably a reason, right?
God only knows what reason the House had in not sending it. Like I said, it should have been considered because, like I said, it was unanimous in the Senate.
So actually, what this opens it up to the spouses.
Correct, ma'am. This is just an area that we didn't think about. We forgot that we put a claim in for a veteran, and he dies before his claim is approved. This way we can substitute the wife, get the claim approved, and then that gives the wife the advantage of having the standard homestead exemption for disabled vets.
Okay. Well, now what we want everyone to do is, first of all, they have to find out the telephone number of their state representative. I know they can call you and you can direct them. I don't know if you have all the numbers because the show is in a lot of different areas. So they either have to contact someone in their state representative, or they can contact you. Give your number one more time now.
Our phone number at the VAC here in Lake County is 847-377-3344. But if you go to the World Wide Web, www.illinoisgeneralassembly.gov, you can easily look up your state representative locally.
Well, we're going to get right back to it, but right now I've got Vita's Pearls of Wisdom. Okay, on my Pearls of Wisdom, there's a couple things that I want to get in for you. First of all, I want to welcome the Morton Grove area. That's our new affiliate as of today, that they have requested that they be plugged into us, so we welcome them into our network. They'll be seeing our shows all the time. That's the first thing I want to talk to you about. The second thing I want to talk to you about is something I've talked to you about before. It's open enrollment for Medicare, and the open enrollment period is only until the 7th of December. Now, if you go onto my website, and that is Senior Issues, etc. is etc.org, and you scroll down for the show on what's called SHIP, S.H.I.P. Senior Health Insurance Programs, which is an affiliate of Medicare. And if you see on that show, you'll have all the telephone numbers and the information for this last gal, Loretta, who I had on the show. That show is still online. And that is a service that is available to you free, and they will help you pick out according to what your needs are, because the Medicare is only covering 80% of whatever your bills are. So for the supplemental division, depending on what your particular disability or the type of drugs is, what is the best type of insurance supplementary that will hit in. Now, if you do not take advantage of this open enrollment to get the most beneficial for your needs in this period, that you have to wait until the next open enrollment, which will come, I believe, not until next sometime in October. That would be October of 2017. So you just have this much time to do it. Okay, this much time on that, but on the urgency of what we're talking about, this veterans things, you know, we have a heart for vets, and I've had so many people ask me and say, what can I do for vets? Now this is something you can do. You can help resuscitate this bill that the widows, the spouses, can really get benefits. And the benefits, we're not talking about a little thing, we're talking about something that is quite substantial. And we're going to get back to Michael right now, and we're going to talk about how substantial this is. Okay, let's say, for example, if the person has a qualification, a certification of 30% disability. Okay, what's that percentage? Just to give a figure to people so they could lock it in their head what we're talking about.
Well, 30% for the state benefit of the homestead exemption.
State benefit, right.
It's $2,500 off the appraised value. Like I said, the 50% is $5,000. But the example I can give you is, let's say that the veteran's 70% rated.
Okay.
Pays no real estate tax. Home in Lake County, normally if it's a $300,000 home, you'd be paying $12,000 a year in real estate tax. So you could actually save $12,000.
Right. So you're talking about $12,000. That's quite substantial. Okay. Now we were talking to somebody before the show, and we were talking about that her husband had like a heart ailment. Okay, he had that heart ailment, but then he was exposed to Ancient Orange. Okay, so then that's considered that period. He actually died of a heart ailment, but the Ancient Orange attributed to it.
Correct. There are.
See, so it has to be an evaluation, right?
Right. For Agent Orange, all troops were exposed to it in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. But what happened is we created presumptives.
Okay.
So ischemic heart disease, Parkinson's, diabetes, prostate cancer, those are all presumptives.
Now, diabetes is tricky because there's so many levels of it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we're talking about diabetes type 2.
Okay, diabetes type 2, but there's diabetes type 2 that they don't take insulin. Then there's diabetes type 2 that they take insulin and pill medication. So there's different levels of it. Now, is that graded in at one level, or is
has diabetes type 2,
okay,
which is he has a disability. But now we start talking about what is the rate.
Degree.
Right. And so
how do you do that?
Okay, that's where the doctors come in when they do what's called a compensation and pension exam, and they look at the severity of what that diabetes is doing to them.
So that's I think the point that I'm getting to.
Right.
So that would take the evaluation of the doctor to establish the severity, which would come up with the percentage compensation.
Correct.
Okay? All right. So let's go through. How about we start right from the beginning and go through the steps? So the first step that the person has to do is they have to, this is urgency, within the next couple of weeks, they have to call their state representative.
Correct.
So they have to find out who their state representative is.
Correct.
Okay? They have to call their state representative. Now, what do they tell their state representative?
That they want his support or hers on Senate Bill 3042.
Okay, now what is that bill?
It's an amendment to the standard homestead exemption for disabled vets.
Okay, now this is an amendment to, say it again, look right in that camera and say it.
The standard homestead exemption for disabled vets.
Okay.
And what this amendment does, it allows the spouse, the surviving spouse, to file for this homestead exemption.
And what is the number of it?
Senate Bill 3042.
And what is your website number?
Okay, our website address is lakecountyil.gov/veterans. And we'll have the bill on there for you. But again, we need to have that representative urge that the bill be taken out of the House Rules Committee and put to a committee so we can bring the bill to the floor for a vote.
Okay. So now, when did you start this?
Well, it passed the Senate back last May 1st.
Last May 1st.
Right.
So last May 1st, but when was it introduced?
It was probably introduced in January by
okay.
Senator Link and Senator Bush.
So it's close to a year that it was introduced.
Yes, ma'am.
And then it passed in May. And then when was it sent over to this Rules Committee?
May 1st. It's the day it left the Senate.
Okay.
It went to the House.
And that's where it's been sitting.
Correct.
And how long does it sit there before it's called the dead duck?
Well, that's when this General Assembly session ends.
And that would be the end of November.
Probably end of December, maybe.
Maybe the end of December. Yeah. But it's a very short period now.
Right. We're into what's called a veto session, which is a lame duck session of the Illinois General Assembly.
So the only resuscitation of it lies in our hands to contact and demand.
Yes, ma'am.
That this be resuscitated, okay? And we, the people, have the choice of whether we're going to do it now. Now listen, I talked to you before. I said, come on, let's roll up our sleeves and let's get out there and vote. Now this is another thing. Come on, let's get in there. Let's show them what we're made of, that we're not just, hi, how are you? I'm a senior. We're seniors, that we have a voice, we know what we're doing, and this is a good thing. This is a good thing. This bill has covered, but it never covered the existing spouse.
Correct.
After the dead of a veteran, that it didn't give this coverage to the spouse. Now, what are we doing? Cutting out, only covered him, the family isn't included? We are family-oriented people, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so it's only a practical solution that it's a benefit for the spouse and it should be included. Now, we have the power right now as a block of seniors. You're watching the show. We're watching the show, and I am not a reality entertainment. Hi. You are a participant. You are a participant in the senior community. So as a participant, that takes action on your part. So this is the time for action, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, where else have you gone with this? Have you gone around different areas with it?
I've been speaking at every senior center, every American Legion and VFW post in Lake County, our state association, Illinois Association of Veterans Assistance Commissions. We met on it. We have 45 counties that have VACs, and we're urging all of our supporters to get this bill through.
Well, now what we're promoting, we know that it's the power of the media, okay? So we're empowered with the media. You're empowered right now by listening to what our message is and the urgency of this, that this good benefit for spouses, good benefit for widows, good benefit for widowers, good benefit for the remaining spouse to get this kind of deduction. Now, let's go through this one more time so people have clarity in what we're doing, okay? This bill was introduced. Let's start from the beginning, what the bill, how it was introduced.
Well, it initially was introduced by Senator Link and Senator Bush in the Illinois Senate. And as I said, it passed the Illinois Senate 55-0, no problems at all. And then it went to the House. A House sponsor was Linda Chaplavia, who's chairman of the House Veterans Affairs Committee.
Okay.
But then it got assigned to the Rules Committee, and that's where it's at.
Uh-huh. Well, who made that assignment?
Well, probably the Speaker of the House, Mr. Madigan.
Oh, so then he just passed that and it went into this death chamber.
Right.
Okay, so what we're doing, we're breathing life into this lying there dead. This good bill that in order for it to be revived takes our action now on this part. So in our action on this part, if this is revived, then when would you hear about the revision of it?
Well, I'm certain that my local representatives will call me right away if and when it gets approved.
Uh-huh.
And once it's approved, we're going to come back to you and let your viewers know.
And we'll have a victory dance.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll have a victory dance on this. Now, what it is if this doesn't concern you, what I want you to do is go to all your neighbors and find out if someone is recently widowed or and find out if they had, if a spouse was in the service and what the circumstances were, because until we get this word out, and this word, by rights, this word should have gone out through the political system. But I don't know why. It's an oversight or something. They let something as important as this die.
Well, as you said earlier, it's communication, and we've tried various forms of communication. We sent out a pamphlet to every residence in Lake County. Of course, this bill is bigger than just Lake County, but we call it outreach, and really need to do the outreach to the community. There's several programs that we can help seniors with, especially, again, the surviving spouse. And I can't reemphasize, when we send those young men and women out to war, they need to know that we have their backs. And this is just a small step.
Then not only that we have their backs, but we have their families' backs.
Exactly.
That's what we're fighting for right now.
Exactly.
That's what we're resuscitating right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what we're joining our hearts for, because it's the veteran himself, but the veteran assumes that their family is included, right?
Well, it's very much like a military retiree. They retire, and the wife assumes, well, I'm going to get half his pension. Unless they belong to a program called Survivor's Benefit Plan, they don't get anything. And then we have to go back to what the VA offers, which is the Dependents Indemnity Compensation. So please contact your local state representative and urge support.
And when you out there, you're going to get with it. When you out there, I'm talking right to you, come to the end of your rope, you tie a knot and hang on. And why we want you to hang on is the best is what to come, and what we want you to do this week is catch the spirit. God bless you. We love you.